Hi everyone, so this video is another makeup masterclass video, and this is how to get rid of under eye circles. Under eye circles basically means any kind of puffiness or darkness that you have around your under eye area. Most of us have it. A lot of the time it's hereditary, but it can be caused by things like bad skincare, if you're dehydrated, if you're not drinking enough water, poor diets, lack of sleep is a very common one. And basically it's the kind of darker tones that you get just underneath your eyes, just in that kind of little line. Some people have them quite puffy. It really does depend on the type of skin that you've got as to kind of the type of lines that you'll have. But there are ways to counteract them with makeup. There are ways with skincare as well, but with makeup it's a lot easier. But make sure you use a good eye cream, because that is really the basics of makeup is good skincare. So I'm going to start off with telling you what products I think are the best. You don't have to use the exact same ones that I'm using in this kind of tutorial. You can kind of adapt them to your price range or your age and that kind of thing. But when choosing a concealer, I think you really need to look at the colour of of the darkness under your eyes. So if it's a purpley tone, if it's a bluey tone, sometimes it can be a bit of a greeny tone, but the most flattering colour to get rid of it is a kind of peachy salmon colour. And my absolute favourite under eye concealer is the Laura Mercier Secret Concealer, which looks like this, and I have done a blog post about this. This is in shade 3, because you can see it's got very kind of yellowy, peachy undertone to it. So it really helps to counteract the darkness. Like I said, I've done a blog post about it. If you want to hear about the product in a bit more kind of depth, then I'll pop that in the description box for you. But this is an amazing concealer, really creamy, really long wearing, and really easy to blend. It is very expensive, but I've had this for about a year, and I haven't even hit pan on it. It is just amazing, and I use it every single day. So for really darkness, you need something like this, and I always believe in having two concealers. One to conceal and another one to brighten up the area. And to brighten up the area, a kind of airbrush concealer is great. So Clinique Airbrush Concealer is great. The Une concealer I quite like, but what I've been using for a while is the Avon A-New concealer, because if you've got fine lines, and obviously, like, you know, I've got fine lines under my eyes and I'm young, but it just depends on the shape of your eye, and you don't want something really heavy that's going to sink into your skin and cause creasing. So you need a concealer to conceal and a concealer to brighten, and I like to set it with a powder, but I'll touch that in a minute. I'm going to start with the Laura Mercier concealer, and the way I like to apply concealer is either with a fluffy brush like this. This is one of the Blush Professional brushes, or with fingers, but I find with a brush you get a much more kind of flawless finish. And I just tap a little bit of product. You can see how much I've got on there, and I take the kind of concealing part only down the really dark areas. So you don't want it everywhere, you just want to pop it on the areas where you're the darkest. And I'm going to come a little bit closer for you so you can really see. The lighting keeps going bright and weird, doesn't it? So if you just then start to blend that out, and always take it into the inner corners, because a lot of us get dark in there too, and keep it really onto the areas where you get the darkest, like so, and you've really counteracted that bluey tone under your eye. You can see the difference between this eye and this eye. I'm going to do the same on the other eye now, just under the darkest area. And with concealer, you want to make sure that above all the tone is right, but also that it's not darker or too much lighter than your foundation, because then you'll just get a weird kind of colour effect. But always start with a tiny bit, because like I said, it can tend to crease a little bit. So the smaller amount you use, the less you're going to have to kind of retouch. And then with a brightening concealer, like the Avon concealer, I have this in Fair. The lighting's really bright. You just start to kind of really brighten up your under eye area. So, sorry, I've just got an eyelash. So I like to just start drawing a triangle shape. and taking it all the way around and just really, really brightening up the area, because I really like a really polished, flawless under eye concealer, shall we say. I like a natural foundation, but with concealer, I think it's all about making you just look like you've got no under eye circles. And if you kind of tilt your head down, you can see where you need to go in because of the shadow. And again, the same on the other eye. Draw a triangle and fill it in. And then with a fluffy brush, it's just so much easier to blend concealer this way, and you do get a really kind of flawless finish. Just make sure you've got quite a soft fluffy brush, a good quality one, so it doesn't really irritate your eyes. And then I like to just pan it in, make sure the product's really warmed up and sunken into the skin. So if you can see there the difference in the under eye area now than when we started, you can see it's a lot more bright and you look a lot fresher and a lot more awake. To make sure your concealer stay put, I like to set it with a powder, but you do have to be very careful what kind of powder you use. So not a heavy duty kind of mattifying powder. I like to use an eyeshadow, and I always use this kind of bone shade right here, which is from the Benefit Princess kit. So this one right here, on a fluffy little brush, because it's a nice creamy texture, and it's not going to sink into the lines or anything. It just kind of helps your concealer to stay on for longer and appear a lot more kind of polished as well. And it offers a little bit of colour because it's a yellowy shade. It helps to kind of counteract. What's wrong with me? I can't speak today. Counteract the darkness. So those are my top products and tips on how to achieve a flawless under eye area, shall we call it. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it useful, and like always, if you've got any questions or comments, then pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Bye bye.